Hey guys, welcome back to Waters Family Homestead. Alright, so I made a few changes. Quite a few changes actually. I've still got to pick green beans today. I did not get them done yesterday. But I've got a few squash that I planted that are coming up. Got another one back there. I moved the tomato bags out. I added more of the weed mat and covered everything in the middle of the gonna be greenhouse and moved stuff, put those two new beds together. Thought there was two to the package, turned out to be one to the package, so it is what it is. I'm not even gonna argue about it. I'll find another one somewhere down the road. But I've got to get soil. I dumped out a couple of the grow bags that the tomatoes had gotten so heavy. The tomato cage, or whatever you call it thing, wasn't holding the tomato up. It was letting them bend over, and I had poked them all the way through, and it just was not holding the tomatoes up. And I got tired of it and pulled the tomato plants, pulled the tomatoes off that were green, and pulled the plants. I've still got the one there in the middle, two more back there, another one over here, two more here. So there's at least 6 tomato plants still growing, which is, well, there's multiple in a couple of them. So there's still a lot of tomato plants, but just got tired of dealing with it. I couldn't make them stand up. They were injuring the plant, you know, trying to bend all the way over, and I needed to get them moved. So my grandson and I got out here and done this. I need to pull up a few weeds along that edge and fold that weed mat back where I was standing when we started here. But it gave me a little bit more room to move around and work the actual beds. I've got a few feet between. These are 3x8 raised beds. I've got about 3 feet between the two beds, so I've still got to get soil and fill them up. There's the other squash plant that's coming up, and the watermelon is just running out of the box, and I'm letting it because there's nothing else for it to do. It's not going to hurt anything. The watermelons are still growing well, but I haven't gotten anything to come up in those pots, so I moved the rose bush over to the corner. Maybe get out here so I can turn around. This will just make it easier when I am cutting grass to be able to run around the greenhouse area and not have to deal with the weeds around the poles and everything else near as much. But I've still got all these tomato plants here, and it's starting to fall over. The cage isn't holding the weight of the plant, so I'm still pleased with it. But I know some of y'all are gonna say you pulled those plants, but it is what it is. It just got to where I could not keep them upright, and they're not going to be very healthy if they won't stand upright. So got those done, and when this sun goes away, because I can't even see the screen right now, when it cools off a little bit this evening, I get a little bit more shade over here, I'll get out here and pick vegetables and water the garden and do a little bit more. I've got a wagon full of soil over there, and I need to go get some of my compost and add to it. So there's still quite a bit more for me to do. I moved the dill over here. But as you can tell, they are, this heat down here is rough on them. So they didn't get water yesterday. Well, I ordered them yesterday early, but they didn't get water last night. And this heat is just drying them out, so I've got to get them watered this evening. And I'm probably going to put what soil I have in that one bed that I've already started putting some in, and get these empty grow bags up. I'm not planting tomatoes in grow bags anymore, for the simple fact that I can't keep them upright and when they get big like they have been doing. So another lesson learned. I need to, like I said, I need to fold that over. I've ran out of stakes to hold the weed mat down. I've got plenty of weed mat left, but ran out of stakes. So I've got more squash plants growing. I don't know how long it'll take them to grow, but they spread a lot. They grow big, but they don't grow tall. So they should be fine in the grow bags. And hopefully that'll work out. All right, so I did throw a full scoop of scratch out there for the chickens, and they pretty much demolished it. There's a few still pecking. The baby chicks are doing well, and all three of the hens, the turkey hen and both Rhode Island Reds, are still sitting on eggs. I don't know that any of those from the female turkey are going to hatch. As I told y'all before, she did get off of them for a little while and got back on them. So I don't know that those eggs will hatch, but all I can do is let her keep doing her thing and see if they will or not. But other than that, we had a pretty good weekend. My grandson stayed the weekend with me, and he helped me out there. And I think as I learn, and for example, those tomato plants getting so big I couldn't hold them up in those grow bags, you know, that's a learning thing, and I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't have done it. So especially making changes to it. But anyway, I'm pleased. The chickens are still laying pretty good. It's gotten so hot they have slowed down a little bit. I'm getting about 18 a day, 17, 18. So that's still a good amount of eggs, but it is so hot that they have slowed down a little bit. They'll pick back up when the worst heat of the summer starts slacking off. But I'm pleased with it, and they're still, like I say, they're still laying and doing really well for me. They all seem to be healthy. So I just doing a video, and I'll come back and show y'all the garden, the raised bed garden, when I'm done this evening, and show you what it looks like. All right, guys, I guess it's wrapping this video up. I just finished filling the feeders, refilling the waterers, cleaning them out, and gathering all the eggs. And the little mama hen and the baby chicks are just trying to push me out the door to get out. So I went ahead and let them out again, and gave them just a little bit of scratch. And the other day when I let them out, I had one get outside the pen. I don't know how, but he got out. And then another one got over on this side. So I didn't let them out for the last 4 or 5 days. But they pretty much wouldn't take no for an answer today. So I went ahead and let them out. So I filled up their feeder with the Start and Grow, and I've got Start and Grow in the middle feeder for when those baby chicks hatch. And those mamas, since they're not up scratching and eating as much, need a little bit of boost to their system as well. So I'm giving them the higher protein Start and Grow as well. That'll help keep them healthy. And then I've got layer pellets, of course, in the last pen here, and they're almost emptying that pen every day. So all right, let's go back and look at the garden. All right, all I did was clean up a little bit and water everything. This is the only one that didn't have a squash or something pop up on it. These two, of course, did. That one actually had 2, because I probably put 2 seeds in the hole. And both these tomatoes are still doing well. That tomato's doing well. It looks like they're drying out on me, and I'm trying to water them extra. I planted another squash in this corner because I pulled up the ones that were here, and we'll see how that one works out. It's already came up. The carrots are doing well. I'm actually thinking about pulling another 1 or 2. I can see the tops right there starting to look pretty good. I know it can't be that long because the grow bag's not that deep. But then, of course, that squash is coming up right there. Did not have one come up in there. I don't remember if I planted one in there, to be honest. But I watered everything really well. This tomato cage is struggling holding up. Let me lay this camera down. It's struggling holding up this tomato plant. So that's kind of why I pulled the others. They were too heavy to hold in those shallow bags. But I rewatered all these. I've actually got a peach or a nectarine tree planted in here. I don't remember which. But the watermelon is doing extremely well. If y'all can see that. There's no way I can pick that up with one hand. There's another one growing right there. A couple more up front. And then there's one over on that side. So far the watermelon's doing well. I actually got 2 squash that came up in that one. I guess I could dig it up and separate one and move it to the one that didn't pop up. But I'm not going to do that. So these tomatoes are doing well, except they're just pulling those tomato cages over. So I'm learning I need to put the tomato cages on them early and bury them as deep as they'll go so that it'll stand there and hold the tomato plant up once it grows. But my nephew and I came out with the black light. Nephew, what kind of crap? My grandson and I came out with the black light Friday night, and we got 3 tomato hornworms. 2 of them were really, really small. Like one of them was a little over an inch. The other one was about an inch. And then I got one that was probably 2.5 inches at the most. But they weren't near as big as the last ones I've gotten. But that's the only, we found 3 that night, and we put them in a Ziploc bag, and I let him feed them to the chickens the next day. And then I haven't seen any more. So that black light really makes a difference when it comes to finding those tomato hornworms. Boy, they glow different than the green tomato plants. The bigger they are, it seems like the more they glow, but I'm gonna have to buy a much bigger. Look at that. See how that tomato cage is just falling over, and now this one's falling over. They're just not holding. I did not push them in deep enough, I guess. But there's a lot of tomatoes. Some of them's got insect damage, some of them don't. But that's to be expected when I'm not putting any pesticides or anything out. So, all right, I'm gonna do one more thing and wrap this thing up. I haven't been out to check on the honeybees in about a week since I cut grass last anyway. And I'll be cutting grass again in the next 2 to 3 days. With all this rain, it's just growing quick. But there are still honeybees coming in and out of the hive. They're guarding the entrance right there. So I don't know if y'all can see the few that are flying around, but anyway, honeybees seem to be doing okay. I'm gonna leave them alone. It is too hot to be doing too much else out here. I've already gotten soaking wet with sweat twice today, and that's about all I can handle. But I've watered everything really well, and taking care of the chickens. And I've got some squash that's actually like that one there. It's about probably 4 to 5 inches long, but I've got to, somewhere around that 4 to 5 inch mark, but I've got to get some more stakes for this landscape fabric, for this weed mat, to hold it down where it needs to be. I'm hoping Walmart or somewhere online I can find them and get those and add a few more staples in places so that you don't get tripped on and ripped it all up. But either way, I'm pleased with it, guys. I appreciate y'all watching my videos. I'm gonna pull one of them carrots here in the next few days and see what it looks like. But thank y'all for watching. Thank you for subscribing, hitting the thumbs up, and following along my little homestead journey. I do appreciate it. Y'all remember what I've always told you. Jesus Christ loves you, and so do I. Y'all be safe. Be prepared.